You're listening to SM Media, the home of exclusive West of Scotland Football League content. Hi folks, and welcome to the latest episode of the SM Media West of Scotland Football Show. I'm Scott McPike. It's an absolute pleasure to be your host as always. It's a slightly later show than it usually is because we are going to cover the midweek games. I feel a wee bit like Jeff Stelling. That makes you my Chris Kamara, Jamie. We'll get into that in a wee minute. It's a pleasure to welcome our special guest to this week's show. It's the manager of Johnstone Burgh, the one and only Jamie McKim. Jamie, welcome to the show. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thanks, mate. Good to be here.
A pleasure. We did arrange this before. You obviously made quite a groundbreaking signing. We'll get into that in a couple of minutes. But it is a real pleasure to have you on. And obviously, I've been a really good season so far, sitting sixth in the first division, really competitive league. How you kind of found it so far? It's obviously, we spoke at the start of the season, and you were talking about obviously it's going to be a big season for the club. It's certainly been a successful one.
It's been tough. I keep saying every week when I speak to the club boys, and it's a difficult league. Every game you go into, it's not as if you go in expecting to win any, or we're definitely going to this year going in hoping that you're going to win and you're going to produce in the day. But it's a tough. Obviously, honestly, every opponent you come up against is strengths. Obviously, there's weaknesses there as well, but it's a real tough one, and I've enjoyed it, to be honest. Obviously, it's the best league I've been involved in, the best level I've been involved in. So, although you would say we're sitting sixth and probably punching above where we maybe should be in terms of how things have been the last few years, it's still, I still look at some of the games and think where what could have been. But that's probably how ambitious we are. But it's been a reasonable season so far.
And one of the things that kind of jumps out at me when you look at your kind of team this season is there's a lot of goals coming from a lot of areas, like the Cruden, Connor, Gillespie, all with kind of 8+ goals. There's a lot of goals coming within. There's a lot of kind of big game players like Kieran Brophy as well, obviously coming in for Neilston. A really good team you've built this season, and they're obviously kind of doing it on the park.
They have. We've done it. I think out of the 26 games, we've won 12. So we've nearly won half, and we've done all right, as I said. And you're not going in expecting against these teams. For me, I just think we've done a lot of things the hard way, and we've got a lot of good players. Probably for our squad, we're very, very young for that level in that league. And I think I know you mentioned all the other players there, but one of the ones for me that's made a big difference is Jordan Much coming back in. He was with us for the start of the season. There was a wee period he wasn't available and then came back, but for that's invaluable for our squad. And hopefully something going forward we can add a wee bit more of. But considering where the club have been and the kind of journey we've been on the last 5 years, I feel as if we've done okay this year. We've done well enough, and it's just now about taking stock, building again in the summer, and seeing where we can go next year.
Another thing as well, obviously, you've seen my team of the seasons went out this week. Ryan Wallace for Johnson made it in the team of the year. How impressed you've been with him this year?
He's been brilliant this year. For me, when we go to the club awards, I would probably expect him to be in about the awards. He's my player of the year for our team anyway. Very, very consistent, strong, solid, good in the ball. Everything that you want in a player, good trainer, great attitude. And for me, obviously, I'm happy he's extended his deal for next year as well. Somebody I really enjoyed working with. I think he came in off the back of a tough spell he was in at Maryhill, and when we brought him in, it was more settled. He came in left back straight away, and he's nailed it straight away. That's just been his position since he went in, really. So he's a great boy, and he deserves it. Brilliant. Deserves the recognition.
Yeah, obviously a really good achievement for him as well. One big signing that's been made, obviously, if you haven't been on Twitter or social media, you'll maybe not know this. Massive signing for the club, obviously, a real good experience pro coming in the form of Graham Dorrans, formerly of Rangers, Norwich, and obviously Scotland International. Firstly, how did the signing come about, and how big an impact do you think he's going to have, not just on the park but in the dressing room as well?
I think it first came about, we had initial chats. I think it was around about February time, and we nearly got it over the line at the time, but it didn't quite happen, didn't get it, and it's something that I always intended to try and make happen again come the summertime. So we picked up talks again the last few weeks, and Graham's obviously wanting to get back playing, and really, really keen, and the talks have went well, and we we had another meeting last Friday morning, sorry, and we agreed it there and then, and it came up Tuesday morning. We signed, and then it went out live yesterday afternoon, and it's huge for the club. Obviously he's a real top pro. He's experienced. I think the wee video that went out yesterday shows kind of highlights of goals and stuff like that. But one of the biggest things for me is the type of person he is.
Mm-hmm.
I met him about 4 years ago on the B licence, and he's no what people would have is what they would imagine a footballer being, with the personality, the ego, and stuff like that. I think he's the exact opposite of that. He's a lovely guy, genuine guy, and I think he'll be great for our dressing room. He'll be great running about the place. And for me, like, if you're ever going to make a signing, that's the type of person you would want about, and that's equally as important to me as Graham the footballer.
And it's that as well, obviously, with like signing a player like Graham as well. It's obviously going to attract a lot of players to come as well. Is that kind of one of the big things for you as well?
I think for me to make my job easier, it's something that I wanted out early, that was happening, and it should help me go and sign other players. And I said that when we spoke. I think that's, to be fair, we're only 24 hours on for it being announced, and it's happened already. And it's not just, as I say, I don't want to get away from the fact that we're signing Graham Dorrans, because Graham Dorrans is a fantastic footballer, firstly, but for the club, it's huge. As it will get us out there, it gets you that bit more recognition, and it makes you more of an attractive proposition for players. It's without a doubt that will happen.
Brilliant. Well, obviously, we'll kind of get into the season kind of later on. We'll be touching the first division. We'll start with a big game on Friday night, which took place. Auchinleck Talbot won the West of Scotland Cup. They beat Clydebank 2-0 in the final, goals from Chris Stafford and Michael Wardrobe. Brilliant achievement for Auchinleck again. I read a statistic. They have only had 3 trophyless seasons since the 1980s. Again, it just shows you the remarkable consistency they have, and another trophy in the cabinet for Tucker.
I think Auchinleck are probably the team I've watched the most of recently, see with the amount of midweek games they've had. And to be fair, see, going into Friday, you're looking at Clydebank and I've taken 6 points for Auchinleck in the league recently. But when you go into the cup finals and you know they've that experience and they've won over the years, it's not a surprise that they've won again. Obviously, the staff was with us before. You get to go on Friday, so it's good for them. You know, it's success isn't an accident. They've done it over a number of years, and I think. Obviously, they're not going to be doing so well this year. It's been a struggling league, but highly surprising they won't win the cup.
And it's that as well, obviously, Auchinleck, the remarkable record and kind of one-off games and the remarkable consistency over the years. But it's been that kind of thing as well, like the winning the cup. But as you say, they've been playing. I mean, just today they played Friday, Monday, Wednesday. Like, do you know what I mean? They're playing that all the time. So it's a game every 2 days. And it's kind of went against them in the league, but to get a trophy in the cabinet, again, you ask any Auchinleck fan, silverware is the most important thing. So I think they'll be happy.
I think we'll see about 10 games to go in the league. I think you could see it was going to be a big ask for them. And I think when you see the final on Friday night, they'll just be delighted to get that trophy, because it's been a tough run. I watched them last Monday at Largs, and it was, to be fair, it was pretty comfortable for us. Ours were by far the better team, but you just knew come Friday it's a different Auchinleck turning up when there's a trophy at stake.
Yeah, absolutely. Big result. Congratulations to everybody at Auchinleck for winning the cup. Beith clinched the Premier Division title in style with a 5-0 win over Kilwinning. And then just tonight they lost 2-1 at home to Auchinleck, but they obviously lifted the trophy tonight. The video of Paul Fry's lifting the Premier Division Championship. We've spoke about this since we kind of saw that Beith were doing well. Straney's went in there and he's ripped it apart. A lot of really good players that he's obviously built a team on, and it's a massive achievement. Probably one of the best achievements in the season in Scottish football, I would say, for this team.
I'd say it's a massive achievement. It's huge. I think, see, at the start of the season, I don't think anybody would have had them top 3. If we're being honest, you wouldn't have had many people say that. But their consistency over the season has been unbelievable. I don't think it's by accident either. I think you can see that they obviously worked hard at it. I think we covered quite a lot of games as kind of a management team, and everyone you're there, the boy Paul McDougall's assistant at Beith. I think I've seen him more times than I've seen my missus this year at the games. Honestly, it's incredible. But as I said, you don't get to that position, 20 wins for 28 games, by accident. Our consistency has been brilliant, so I think it's fully deserved.
And it's that as well, obviously, at the start of the season, obviously they didn't. I think they would only won 2 of their first 8 games, and then they were on that remarkable run from kind of October onwards. It was just that kind of run, the consistency. Just what, like, you've got players as well like Josh Fowler, Paul Fries, like Daniel O'Neill. Like, they've had such big players in big areas as well. When they've just been able to get that big run going, and so we spoke about that. We can every league in the West this season. If you can get that run going, because the leagues are so tight, it puts you in a really good position, and it's worked here.
Do you know the most surprising thing for me with the run? See, when I watched Beith down at Talbot a few weeks ago, see the 2 centre halves. They are so young, but they are very good defensively. They're quick. They can head it. They can tackle. They can pass. They can do everything. And then when you look at Josh up front, does a brilliant job as well. I just think they've built a really strong side, and one that's difficult to compete with, as it's proved over the season.
Yeah, absolutely. Been massive achievement for Beith as well. Just some of the other results, obviously, at the other end of the table, big win for Arthurley. They won 3-1 at home to Rob Roy. That kind of confirmed the relegation of Petershill and Cambuslang Rangers. Cambuslang obviously winning 3-2 tonight at home to the Glens, but massive result for Arthurley. I would say that's probably and apart from obviously the Beith result of the weekend, that's Arthurley's result, a massive 3 points at home to Rob Roy.
It's huge for them. I bumped into Colin at Shots last night, and they were delighted with that. They said it was well deserved, because I think they went down to 10 men, if I'm right.
Yeah.
And obviously made it more difficult, but they managed to see it out and do well. I think it's obviously been a tough season for them now, but I think that will see them stay in the Premier Division next season. So fair play to them.
And obviously tonight we'll just run through kind of the results tonight and get your thoughts. Rob Roy 0, Kilwinning 0. Kilwinning obviously bad result against Beith on Saturday, but that'll be a game they'll be looking as 2 points dropped, and it could be, again, it's kind of against them now. They've 3 games left. They're 7 points behind Arthurley, 10 points behind Rob Roy. They can't catch Rob Roy, so Kilwinning need to win all 3 of their games and hope Arthurley slip up. It's remarkable, I think, that Kilwinning on that position.
It's a tough one, because they've obviously got a very good squad and good players. And for one reason or another, it's not worked this season. But there's a few good. I know a few of the boys in there, and there is some top players in there. So it is a surprise to see them there. There's no doubt about that. But for one reason or another, that happens sometimes in football. It's weird and wonderful game.
Yeah, it is that as well. And it's obviously there's some big games coming up at the weekend. Obviously, Kilwinning at home to Largs, Rob Roy, Cambuslang. Rob Roy, I would say, I think they're pretty much safe now. Arthurley host Hurlford, Darvel Beith, Clyde Glenafton. So the games keep on coming. We're getting to the end of the season, but there's still a lot of football to be played in that league.
There's a lot to be played for it at the bottom end anyway. But again, I think see when you're in these leagues, regardless of whether you're going to win it or you're fighting at the bottom, you want to finish as high as you can. I think that's just the competitive nature of football, and the players, the managers, the coaches, everybody will want to finish as high as they can.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think there's 2 or 3 games left for most teams.
3 games left for Kilwinning, 3 for Rob Roy. That's kind of everybody else is kind of solid, and say obviously the champions have been declared. So it's going to be tight at the bottom of the table. Obviously, going to be very interesting in the last few games. We'll move into the first division. Gartcairn now top on, I think they're 2 points clear at the top. Let me just double check that. 2 points clear. They won tonight, 1-0 away to Gartcairn. Massive 3 points. Obviously, it puts Gartcairn 2 points clear, and they're now in a really good position. Really tough game by all reports for what I read. Gartcairn, obviously, it wasn't the best performance, but a big 3 points going to Blantyre, which is never easy to go.
To be honest, I think with Gartcairn, I've seen a few times recently, they're just churning out result after result, and they're in a good place. And probably at the moment, probably the favourites to win it, I would say.
Yeah.
When we played them early in the season, they're a very, very good side. There's no doubt about that. They've got some top players, and I think they're very well coached. By the looks of it, they play a decent style at times. But when I watched them against Drumchapel a few weeks ago, it wasn't the actual football side of them that impressed me. It was more the organisation defensively, and they made it difficult for the Drum to play. Mm-hmm. So I think they've got the both sides to their game, and to me, I think they're gone. I think they're up already. I'm probably favourite to win it.
Yeah, obviously St Cadoc's and Benburb won big at the weekend as well. Benburb won 2-0 at home to Neilston. St Cadoc's had a 1-0 away victory over Cumbernauld. they're kind of now, obviously, we'll touch on the game tonight, obviously, between Drumchapel and Kilbirnie, but St Carrick's and Benbob have the points. Drumchapel can still catch them. Kilbirnie, again, maybe similar to yourselves, maybe just kind of too much to do, but St Carrick's and Benbob are kind of putting themselves in a good position now.
I definitely listen. St Carrick's of some top players in their team. I spoke to John last week, and I know that they had quite a few injuries. And that's one of the things that with the quality of squad they've got, they've obviously managed to keep getting result after result and do well. And I think they're sitting. I think they look sitting as if they're comfortable. And I think they're up news. I think they're up personally. I think they've all got up. No problem. But it's been a long, hard season for everybody, and it's probably not been as comfortable at the top as what many would have thought. But I think, as I said, they two, I think, are already up. I think they've done well. And then for me, between Benbob and Drumchapel, it's going to be really, really close. I think I said to you before we came on, I think for us, and well, I know with the Kilbirnie result tonight brings us a wee bit closer with them, but for us, it's probably a season where we've done okay.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of what if we could have done here or there, and a lot we could look back on and say, what if we just done that? We could have been there and could have. For me, the pleasing thing for us is we've not been a million miles away, and we've challenged at the top end, and we've made it interesting and had a semi-successful season. So, but for the other teams running about us, there's still a fair bit to play for.
And realistically, though, like I know, like we can add like a couple of days ago we were in this debate about the championship and the SPFL. Like when you've got such a competitive league, it means the kind of points tally for the winners is not as high. You could be looking at a kind of just low 60s to win a league, and like with 30 games, that's crazy for a league. But it shows you just how stacked it is.
Might not even need to be 60, I don't think.
Yeah.
Honestly, and that I think you'll struggle to see another league that the third team who get promoted will be so close to the first team that get relegated.
And it's that as well.
Like, third, it'll be so tight.
And that's like Benbob as well. Like Benbob went down last year in 53 points. 53 points they could be up.
That's mad.
And it's crazy, isn't it? It's like it's where we're at, obviously, with this league. But that must show that last year, obviously, you was winning a pretty tough conference last year, obviously, with Arthur Lane Shots. But like to see the Conference League really kind of coming through, like that shows you, like, obviously, that conference system has worked a treat.
It's made the leagues competitive. I don't think anybody can argue with that because it's so, as we say, it's so tight. And even when you look at the points from bottom to top, it's mad how tight it is.
Other side as well, obviously, Thornleywood, remarkable run they've been on recently as well. They've kind of put themselves into 7th. I think they've won some of the last 4 games. They've been in a really good run. Kind of teams with kind of big victories. Blantyre and Shotts obviously winning at the weekend. Shotts winning last night that you were at as well. Shotts beating Neilston's a massive result.
It is. I think that's probably gave Shotts that wee cushion. Obviously, Shotts beat us there last week 3-1. Yeah. And by the way, what a tough opponent. They've taken 6 points for us this year. And I think it was really, really tough when we went out there, especially midweek. I would never thank you for a midweek game in Shotts when you're travelling for this side of Glasgow, you know. But when we went there, they were physical, they were aggressive, and when they get their chances, they took them. Wasn't a great game, to be honest, but when I went to watch last night, I only caught the first 45 minutes before training last night, and again, you can see a team motivated. I think they can see them maybe a wee bit of danger down the bottom end of the league and motivated to get out of that situation. And I think they were what I spoke to John a few times, and I've always said I thought they had too much to drift into that bottom 3 and stay there. I always felt they would get out of that.
Yeah, I think as well, it's going to be very interesting this weekend as well. Like Kilbirnie and Drumchapel tonight, obviously, that was a big result. Probably both sides will be disappointed to leave with just a point. What was your kind of overall takeaways for the game?
See, to be fair, it was very close. I thought first half I thought Drumchapel were the better team. The second half, especially right at the end, but in the last minute, both of them had a chance to win it. Mm-hmm. I probably feel that there's a few really talented individuals in show, especially probably in both teams, I would say. But I think Drumchapel come away probably the more disappointed not to have taken 3 points, especially with the position they're in, because I think that was in their hands before the night that they go into the top 3, and I think that slipped tonight. Don't get me wrong, we play them on Saturday, and I think they're a top team. I think they've got top players in their team, and I do think that they've got a right good chance there this year. I know the boys there well, and I don't expect them to no go up without a fight, put it that way.
It's going to be very intriguing at both sides of the table in the first division as it's been throughout the season. Second division, big one for Ashfield. They won 2-1 away to Beith Juniors. Obviously, keeps them in a really good position for promotion. I think they only need 2 wins. I think they're pretty much up. Massive win for Ashfield, obviously. But Bobby Barr, obviously, getting into the second division team of the year. He's had such a good season. He's been such a key player for Ashfield this year, and he scores a double on Saturday.
He's scoring for fun, isn't he?
Him and Johnny Black have been remarkable. Like, if they go up, it's down to those two.
Ashfield have see for the first minute, Johnstone Burgh, I remember playing against Ashfield regularly, and they were always a good side. I remember the first COVID season. I think it was the both of us working neck and neck at the start. It was 5 and 6 out of 6, and we played each other. And there's been a lot of work in there over the years, and it's good to see that. I do think they'll come up this season, and it's good to see them sitting up in second place. Challenging, don't get me wrong. I think Renfrew have been a fantastic season. I think they'll win that league. I think, in my opinion, I've seen them this year a few times, and I think they play some really good stuff. Their style this season is a lot different to what it's been in previous years, and I think it's really impressive how well they've been.
Yeah, absolutely as well. Big result for Ashfield. Craig Mark, obviously, they moved into fourth with a 2-1 away victory over Wishaw. Banks and Smith the goals. Draws for St Anthony, Maybole, they draw 2 each. Maryhill 3, Kilsyth Rangers 3. Bottom of the table, just want to touch on a couple of big results. Ardere on Saturday won 2-1 away to Glasgow United. Tonight, Wishaw won 3-1 away to fourth. Those two sides are now out of the relegation zone, and they'll be hoping to stay out of there.
Again, that's another league. I think you can see Glasgow United obviously in 9 points, so we'll be gone already. But I think for Greenup Cup the way it's very, very tight. Probably 2 Wishaw on 12th, maybe even Muir Cup in 11th. But other than that, I thought it's another tight league. And as you said earlier about the pyramid and the conferences, they're really worked in that league as well. So that is a tough league, that one. And I think there's a few teams. Craig Mark, I'm surprised. I thought Caddiston has done a really, really good job over the years, but I thought they would be flying high in that league this year. And I do think they'll have a good chance of coming up. But again, Renfrew and Ashfield doing so well. Maybole's a tough place to go. But I would like to see Craig Mark come up. I think they're a good side.
I think there's a lot of. Again, it's still obviously very tight. Like I think even like Glasgow Perthshire and St Anthony's are the kind of games just going to obviously with Maybole and Craig Mark having games in hand. I think it is going to come down to Maybole and Craig Mark for that third spot. Like I think though Perthshire and St Anthony's, you've got to give them massive credit for the seasons they've had, because even to be challenging for them is a remarkable achievement.
Aye, definitely. As I think in that league, there's a few teams that if they come up this year, like your Craig Marks and your Mabels and stuff, that's when we were in the bottom league a couple of years ago. These are teams that were there. No, Craig Marks, sorry, the Mabels and Ashfields, they were in there as well. So effectively, I feel as if we had back-to-back promotions in terms of where we are now, and I know the clubs will be looking at that the same and have a bit of excitement at looking to get in the next league.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll move into the third division. Some results coming through just tonight. We'll get into them in a couple of minutes. There's a lot of games tonight in the third division, so apologies for a wee bit out of the leagues. Saturday, Ardrossan won 3-0 away to Lanark. Obviously, Lanark were they were kind of neck and neck at the top for a while. Big result for Ardrossan. Again, just the firepower they've got up front, and it could put them in a really good position now.
I can't believe how tight that league is as well. I know I just said that about the others, but I think, I've seen a lot of Ardrossan results this year. I know a couple of boys down there, and they're in a right good position. They're obviously at the top, but you look behind them, if you like Clyde, 2 points in hand and 2 points below, 2 games in hand. McCollum left them to go to Atherley early in the season, but that's so tight. It's another exciting league.
And John, obviously, like John Hughes getting in at Vale Clyde as well. He's been in, and obviously he's had to get in when they're in the middle of a really good run, and he's kept it going as well. And it's that thing, like when we talk about the new manager bounce a lot, but to keep that consistency going, like I think they've only lost 1 game since he's been in, and they're now in the driving seat. And they've got guys like Thomas Sinclair as well, who have been so good this season, so consistent. They won tonight as well. Big result for them tonight. They won 4-2 away to Dalry. Dalry is never easy to go, especially midweek. It's a huge league now, and maybe the result of the night is probably Larkhall 5, Irvine Vicks 0. That's kind of 2 promotion hunters as well. Larkhall winning 5-0 and getting into third, and that could just be a wee turning point in the promotion hunt.
I would agree with you. I think that's a massive result. In terms of the Villa Clyde one, what you were saying with John Grinder, that is a tough thing. See, in terms of managers going in places, you're either going in because somebody's been sacked and it's not been so good and you're looking for a bounce. But I would argue that it's probably harder if you're going in because somebody's moved on for doing well.
Yeah.
And they're looking to carry that on. So I think that's really impressive where they are. And that, for me, I probably think they're going to be the ones that will kick on and win that.
Yeah.
But for me, I think you're right about the result tonight. That's huge. The one over Larkhall, that's a massive statement, especially with somebody so close to you in the league. So again, it's an incredible league. Again, there's some really good teams in there that you would not expect to be in that division, and teams that will probably go and climb out that division and then try and get out the next one again straight away.
I think you said at the start of the season, like I remember when we were kind of talking about kind of predictions at the start of the season, and we were thinking about teams that might be challenging here. Very few of the teams we thought have been in the hunt, but the likes of like Villa Clyde and Larkhall, who kind of nobody really thought would be that as high up as they are. It shows you just like that the league when a lot of sides are really tight. It shows you like again just keeping those runs going, getting big results. You look at some of the goals that teams have scored as well. Like Ardrossan 113 goals, Villa Clyde 95, Lanark 86, Larkhall 84, Irvine Vicks 81, Les Mahago 80. That's your top six. And you know what I mean? If you're scoring goals, you're usually winning games.
I think it's the hardest part of football, I think. It is, without a doubt. So if you're doing that, it's definitely interesting. The games you go to as a spectator anyway, isn't it?
Aye, I mean, it's that thing as well.
I think you do, and 113 goals in 31 games, that's incredible. It really is, no matter what level you're playing at, because that's what if they play 31. So they have 5 games left, or what will they have left?
5 games, yeah.
5 games,
36 games, yeah.
Is that right? 36 games. So they could go on and score over 120 goals in the league season. So, no, I think for that league, what you're saying earlier on, I think for me, when I looked at the start of the year, I fancied Irvine Vicks at the start of the year.
Mm-hmm.
They were in our conference last year. They beat us at Irvine Vicks last year, gave us a really, really tough game, really hard-working team, a few really good individuals as well. And I thought they would go up and maybe probably as champions. I don't know, I think they've still got a chance, to be fair.
They can still go up, yeah. I mean, it's just that they will need to obviously get a couple of wins in the board. They need to. I think they're 8 points behind Larkhall in third. I think they still need to play a couple of the kind of teams above them as well. Like they need to play. They go to Les Mahago. They're away in the last 4 games. So if they win, I mean, if they can get all 4 of those, you know what I mean, it could put them in a good position.
Definitely, it's tough though. See, if you're away 4 games out of your last 5 or 6, that is a tough thing to do.
Yeah,
100%. Probably where you suffer for having your park playable through winter times, which I never thought I'd say that we kind of experienced as well. We only had, I think, 2 of our last 6 or 7 our home games. Never thought I'd be saying that about Kenny Park, but that's what the situation's been this year.
It's been a wild time. Like at the bottom of the league as well. You look at like the relegation kind of zone. Obviously, right now as it stands, 6 are going down. I think that will stay the same. I don't know if there maybe one less. There was only 5 originally, but there's now 6. Dalry, who I thought were a team that could be challenging at the start of the season, they're in the relegation zone. East Kilbride Thistle, who I think we all thought were going to challenge. Obviously, there's been a lot of outside factors there, but like teams like that, it just shows you like East Kilbride Thistle and Dalry, they were 2 sides I thought would be really in the hunt at the top end, and they could now be struggling to stay in the league.
I agree with you. I think East Kilbride one especially, you seen the players they were bringing in, it was real players of quality and experience that they recruited at the start of the year. And I think everybody was looking at them and kind of surprised at who they were bringing in.
Mm-hmm.
So it's obviously disappointing for them. But for me, I know at Dalry, I know quite a few of the players at Dalry, and I'm surprised at that. I don't think they'll go down, to be fair. I think they'll get their way to safety. I think they've got too much quality in their squad. We played them in a friendly earlier in the year as well. And you could see that they've got a really good side. They've got a few really, really good individuals. So I don't see them staying in that 6 to go down, to be honest.
Yeah. We are obviously at the kind of stage where the seasons are kind of coming to an end, that there's a lot to unpack. Beith are not going to go up. That has been confirmed to me the other day. It looks like it's going to be Linlithgow from the West, East and South champions that are going to go up. I don't think anybody in the South, if any of the sides that can win the South can go up. B, obviously, it's disappointing, but obviously it's kind of one of those things where it's kind of outside factors can't be helped. But does that? I was kind of in this debate with somebody the other day. Does that take away from the kind of League One the fact that you can't go into the promotion hunt, or is that like it's still a remarkable achievement to win the league? But is it the same? Does it have that kind of effect with not going up?
For me, it's probably disappointing that you can't go up, but I don't think that if you win a league, I don't think you can ever take anything away for that,
Yeah.
because the amount of people in football that will be involved for however many years and never win a league it will be a high percentage.
Mm-hmm.
So I would never say that you would take anything away if you can win a league. You win a league, brilliant. That's no matter what level or what you do. I think you need to just savour that and kind of enjoy the moment. If you're Beith, you probably are disappointed that you can't go up, because it's that way. But we don't know in terms of whatever the club situation is, because I think it's no secret there's some clubs who wouldn't want to go up and go into the Lowland League or whatever. But for me, if that was us in that position, I would love to go, well, if you win the league, go and get the rewards for it and go up. And I know we're not in that position at the moment, but you know what I'm saying with that. If you win the league, you would want the trophy and you'd want the opportunity to go and test yourself in the next league.
Mm-hmm. One more thing before we kind of move on to kind of closing the show and talking about obviously the remainder of the season for Johnstone. The news obviously during the week, the Conference League seems to be happening. It seems to be all but confirmed. What's your thoughts on it? I know obviously there's been a lot of pros and cons for it. I know very much like kind of the pyramid, the kind of teams in the West, kind of people in the West really aren't for it. Where do you stand?
Don't see any pros for it, to be honest. I don't think it's right. That's just my opinion. To be honest, I've not looked massively into it. I just think it's wrong. I don't think it's right, to be honest. Really disappointing for the ambitious clubs, and there's a lot of ambitious clubs in the West now, especially. And if these clubs, they shouldn't be set back. Basically, for me, it's a relegation for a lot of clubs, for every club underneath that. So it's disappointing. I think there'll be better ways to go around about it, and probably the voting structure and things like that as well. It doesn't sit right. It could be done so much better.
Do you think obviously there seems to be a lot of kind of protests kind of from like other clubs? A lot of clubs are making statements about it, saying they're against it. Do you think that's going to have an effect? Because the one thing that was kind of the reason that I've kind of stayed away from the protests and things like that is I think if this is going through because certain clubs want it through, so I don't see that minds being changed. I don't see a petition changing their minds. So is it kind of wasted time?
I don't think it's a waste of time, because I think you're as well having your voice heard. You're as well getting your opinion out there and kind of showing the resistance and the opposition to it. But I don't think it'll make a difference either. I'm way on that. I don't think it'll change it. I'd love it to change it, because I think it would be the right thing to do, but unfortunately, I just don't see it happening.
I know I'm kind of putting you in the spot here a wee bit, and I didn't tell you I was doing this, but
Thanks very much before you do
it. If you are like if you are in charge at the SFA, what would you be for the B teams maybe in a different way, like coming through the West system or something, or would you say go to the reserve league, go to the old system, or would you keep the B teams in the Lowland League? Because there is obviously a reason that this is happening. The B teams want to be in the league, and people think it's going to be a good idea at the clubs.
I don't think it's the best way to develop young players either.
Yeah.
I think the old reserve league, I think, was brilliant for young
I
players.
always said that.
See the opportunity to actually play with seasoned pros and be in that reserve league. Everybody's a team in it. Sorry, and even if it's guys coming back from injury or it's guys not playing or whatever, young players got that experience. Where seeing the B leagues, I get that they're coming and they're playing in the Lowland League. They're not playing against full-time footballers. And I'm not saying that they're playing against poor players, because they're not. There's a lot of good players in the Lowland League and run about that level. But this isn't full-time players of that experience that you used to get in those reserve leagues. You know, if Celtic Rangers are in it, the experience you would get going up again. I remember Derek McInnes playing for St Johnstone in the reserve league, different things like that, where players would go and learn from them. And that doesn't happen in the B League. It's totally different. And to be honest, if you're trying to develop what you would say is through Celtic and Rangers, what you would class as possibly your next international level players, why are they playing in the Lowland League? And it's not, I think the Lowland League's a fantastic level, but if you're looking at elite footballers, you would want to test them at a higher level or with more experienced players. They have the technical ability. They have that. That's why they're at these clubs. It's more about going and learning the adult side of the game and the other side of the game. And for me, that's not the one. The league isn't the place to do that.
We'll move into talking about the remaining 4 games for Johnstone Burgh. Away to Drumchapel on Saturday, and then obviously the season finishes the 27th of May. 3 away games, away to Drumchapel, Whitlett's, Blantyre, home to Gart Cairn. What's the kind of 4 games left? What's the kind of thoughts going into the end of the season? How are you approaching the next 4 games?
Firstly, we want to win them all. That's before I say anything, I will say that because I would never want to think that put anything else out there other than the fact that we want to win every single game that we play in. Mm-hmm. Having said that, I realise that we're not going to get promoted. We're not going to get relegated. Although we still want to finish as high as we can. I think I need to also give players an opportunity to play their way into our plans for next year. Mm-hmm. So there's a balance to be struck. But as I said, firstly we want to win. And that's, again, we play Drumchapel, we play Gart Cairn, who are both trying to go up, and I would never go, we'll weaken my squad or weaken my team and we'll help it. That's not what it's about. We'll do what's best for us, but we also want to win. And then when we go into the last 2 games, it'll be very much the same. There'll be a few changes within the team, I would suspect, but we'll go into every game looking to try and win.
Jamie, congratulations on a brilliant season so far. Thank you very much for joining me in tonight's show. It's been an absolute pleasure, and best of luck for the season ahead.
No problem, mate. Thanks, anytime.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you very much to everyone that's tuned in. Please follow us on social media and subscribe to our YouTube and podcast channels. We'll see you next week for a new show. Thanks, guys. We'll see you soon.